My maid of honor has been ghosting me when it comes to anything about my wedding, and I need to make plans with her, so I texted her saying she can respond by the end of the week or she can consider herself a guest. Starting with a bit of background. My maid of honor is my best friend from high school. For the sake of this post, her name will be Levy. Since the beginning of our friendship, I have known about Levy's traumatic background that has caused her to have severe PTSD, anxiety, and depression. I too came from a rough background and we bonded over shared trauma. Levy has a tendency to isolate herself from everyone around her when she is extremely overwhelmed and/or depressed. About a month and a half before the wedding, she stopped talking to me. After about a week of her not responding, I went over to her house to check in on her. She explained to me what she was going through and I was right there to listen and try to help to the best of my abilities. She kept speaking to me for a few days and then stopped again. I gave her some space, but I needed her to be at a meeting with my wedding manager to go over some fine details for the wedding. She showed up and started speaking again for a few days. Then she stops again. I give her some more space because I don't want to overwhelm her even more than she already is. 2 weeks go by and my family hosts a bridal shower for me. She swore that she'd be there. 30 minutes after it starts, I don't hear from her. I call her and text her, but there is nothing. After I had called her a second time, her boyfriend showed up at the door with a gift. He explains that Levy isn't doing too well today and she's been having extremely bad panic attacks all morning. I let it be and give her the day. The next day, we had a meeting set for all the bridesmaids to get together at my home and go over details such as hair, makeup, shoes, times act for the big day. I had texted her all morning trying to see how she was doing and if she would be there tonight. I called her several times through the day with no luck. My fiancé, also a good friend, called her to check in with no luck. Finally, about 30 minutes before the meeting was supposed to start, my fiancé called her BF and tells him that he is on his way to come get her for the meeting. The BF explains that they are actually at a B-day party for someone in his family. BTW, the meeting was set up a month prior as to make sure it was set in everyone's schedules. My fiancé at this point was getting extremely angry and I was having a meltdown because another one of my bridesmaids also wasn't responding to me. The other bridesmaid lost her phone and forgot about the meeting. Levy went for another week without speaking to me. Exactly 2 weeks before the wedding I sent her this text. Hey girl, I understand that you are struggling, but with the wedding 2 weeks away, I really need communication when you need help. I feel like I am losing you, and I don't want that. I love you and I will always be here for you. I need to know that I can count on you too. Crickets for the next few days. Yesterday, I tried to call her several times with no answer. So, I went to her home to check in on her. We waited for about 10 minutes outside. We could hear them inside and we called both her and her BF to see if they were okay. Finally, I left. I spoke to my wedding manager, who is also my uncle, to get his opinion on it as well as my mother. Both of them said that I only get one wedding day. I need to focus on my happiness right now. They both advised me to send her a text saying that if I don't hear from her or her BF by a certain day, I need to move forward. The show must go on. I ended up sending this message to her. Hey, I know that you are struggling right now. And if it helps, we can take the responsibility from the wedding off of you and you can be a guest. You are my best friend and I'd love to have you at my wedding, even if it means that you are just a guest. Please let me know by Friday at 7 p.m. if you'd still like to be in the bridal party. If I don't hear from you by then, I will have to move forward and I will see you as a guest at the wedding. I really don't want to lose her as a friend, but I really need someone who I can rely on because the wedding is in 9 days. Am I a jerk for threatening to kick my maid of honor and her partner out of the wedding party? Is there something I could have done better? Update. Hello everyone. It has been a month since mine and my husband's wedding. Everything is going beautifully and we cannot be happier. The wedding was beautiful with only a few hiccups along the way. Another one of my bridesmaids was extremely helpful to us and stepped in as Mo. She really didn't have to do much except for be at my side, because she is physically unable to do much strenuous activities due to her pregnancy. All of my bridesmaids were beautiful and extremely helpful to me on our big day. As for Levy, I haven't heard from her since I sent the text letting her know that I needed to hear from her. The day after the deadline for us to hear from them, I messaged her BF, Dan, directly letting him know that he was still welcome to attend our wedding as a guest. We had a long conversation going back and forth and we ended on good terms. The next week, we went to a friend's Halloween party where Dan was present. There, he confided in me that Levy was getting too toxic for him and he was going to ask her to move out. From what I have heard, it didn't end well. He was hoping they could stay together, but live separately in hopes of mending their relationship. When she moved out, she had taken his laptop with her, and the last time they spoke, he asked for it back and she pretty much spat in his face. Levy has cut off all contact with what used to be mutual friends, which has put a strain on them. Dan did end up going to the reception and it was nice to see him there. My husband and I speak to him every so often to try and keep touch so he doesn't feel alone in this point in his life. For those who are wondering, Dan and I spoke about what I could have done to make Levy act in such a way. He told me that she vented to him a lot and told him about how she was fed up with my husband and I, but because he is also a friend, he chose not to listen to much else she had to say about us. The reason he wasn't speaking to us was to try and save his relationship with Levy. I have removed Levy as a friend on all social media platforms, but I still have her number saved just in case she ever wants to talk it over. Again, we share trauma experiences over SA and never want anyone with those experiences to feel alone when they have their times when they are struggling. Thank you all for your advice from my last post. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season.